Welcome back to the Stephen A. Smith Show. Before I get on out of here, I had to talk about a story that's very, very important. And albeit indirectly, it involves Caitlin Clark.
Stephen A. Smith just dropped a broadcast that doesn't just change the conversation, it detonates it. This isn't a leak. This isn't a hot take. This is a confirmed, behind-closed-doors fracture in Indianapolis. Caitlin Clark is mentally checking out. The fairy tale isn't ending. It's being dismantled in real time. And the Fever organization? They just watched their franchise cornerstone stop, playing for a broken system. You felt it on the hardwood lawn before anyone dared say it on air. Every brutal hip check, every swallowed whistle, every dead-eyed stare from the sideline after a dangerous, off-the-ball hit. The league sold you a coronation. What they actually delivered was a psychological gauntlet. But this stopped being about basketball the moment the narrative shifted from competition to containment. This is about survival. And right now, the most explosive media voice in America has officially validated what thousands of fans already felt in their bones. The environment in Indiana is suffocating, and Clark's breaking point isn't a hypothetical anymore. It's a countdown. When Stephen A. Smith steps to the mic, he doesn't deal in whispers. He deals in verdicts. His latest segment was an analysis. It was a public indictment. The targeted physicality, the strategic abandonment, the institutional silence. It's all been laid bare. The mainstream press spent months telling you this was just rookie adjustment. They told you to toughen up. They called the outrage overblown. But while they preached patience, the floor told a completely different story. A story where a generational playmaker was systematically exposed, isolated, and forced to absorb a level of hostility that would have triggered an NBA player union strike. Go back to the tape. Slow it down. You don't just see aggressive defense. You see calculated disrespect. A deliberate message sent through late closeouts, illegal leverage, and unspoken veteran gatekeeping. And where's the protection? Where's the bench fire? Silence. That's the exact sound of franchise quietly abandoning its own golden ticket. The cameras caught it. The analytics exposed it. And now, a cultural institution has finally named it. This isn't sports commentary. It's an emergency broadcast. But here's what the headlines are actively burying. The fracture didn't start on the parquet. It started in the game plan. And when Stephen A. dragged the coaching strategy into the spotlight, he cracked open a fault line that about to expose a power struggle most of you completely missed. The real betrayal is still coming. And it all ties back to a single calculated tactical matchup that didn't just test Clark's game. It broke the illusion of the entire league's welcome committee. That matchup wasn't just a loss. It was a blueprint. And Stephanie White didn't just coach against Caitlin Clark. She dissected her. Every trap, every hard hedge, every physical hand check wasn't accidental. It was a masterclass in systematic neutralization. White's Connecticut Sun didn't just win that game. They sent a league-wide memo. This is how you break a phenomenon. And the Fever? They had no counter, no adjustment, no fire, just silent from the sideline, while Clark fought a 5-on-1 war with no backup. Watch Christy Sides' face during those sequences. Not angry, not animated, not even frustrated. Detached, like she's watching a film study. Not her franchise player being worn down in real time. That's not coaching. That's complicity. And Stephen A. didn't just notice it. He called it out with surgical precision. You don't bring a knife to a gunfight and then act surprised when your star gets cut. That line wasn't for TV. It was a direct shot across the bow of an organization that's been outsourcing its leadership to hope and hashtags. But here's the twist no one saw coming. The Suns' game plan wasn't just about stopping Clark. It was about exposing a vacuum. When a superstar gets doubled, tripled, physically harassed, and her own team doesn't adjust the spacing, doesn't create secondary options, doesn't demand respect from the refs. That's not bad luck. That's bad leadership. And the Fever's offensive sets during those critical stretches? Predictable, static, safe, like they were actively avoiding putting Clark in positions to succeed. Coincidence? Or confirmation? The crowd noise in that arena told its own story. First, roaring hope. Then, confused murmurs. Then a chilling collective silence as Clark dragged a broken system down the stretch. You could feel the faith evaporating in real time. And social media? It exploded. Not with criticism of Clark, but with fury at the architecture around her. Fans aren't stupid. They see when a player is being set up to fail. And they're starting to ask the question the league fears most. What if Indiana isn't trying to win with Clark, but trying to survive her? Now layer in the Olympic snub. The very same week White's tactical masterpiece aired, USA Basketball announced its roster. No Clark, not even in contention. Think about the psychological whiplash. You're being physically targeted nightly. Your coach won't fight for you. Your league won't protect you. And now, the ultimate stage, the Olympics, slams a door in your face. That's not a setback. That's a message. And messages like that don't just hurt pride. They fracture identity. Stephen A. connected those dots live on air, and the reaction was instantaneous. Clips spread like wildfire. Fans flooded replies with, "She's done in Indiana." Analysts debated whether this was the beginning of a trade demand. And inside Fever headquarters, radio silence. That silence isn't strategy. It's panic. Because when your biggest asset starts looking like your biggest liability, the only move left is damage control. But you can't control a narrative as explosive with press releases. You control it with action. And so far, Indiana has chosen inaction, which brings us to the locker room. The one place Clark should feel safe. The one place she should feel supported. But what if that sanctuary is compromised? What if the very people paid to elevate her are quietly resentful of the spotlight she commands? We're not talking about rumors. We're talking about body language. About who helps her up after a hard foul. About who celebrates her highlights. About who speaks up in huddles. The camera doesn't lie. And the camera has been telling a story of isolation for weeks. This isn't just about basketball anymore. This is about psychology, about power, about who really controls the narrative of a league trying to reinvent itself. And right now, Caitlin Clark is at the center of a storm she didn't create, but might be forced to escape. Because when every door closes, sometimes the only way forward is to walk out the one you came in. But here's what happens next will shock you. A leaked audio clip just surfaced, and it changes everything. That leaked audio isn't just a clip, it's a confession, and it's about to rewrite the entire Caitlin Clark saga. What you're about to hear wasn't meant for public ears. It was a private off-mic moment, captured during a Fever timeout, where the arena noise faded to a distant hum. And in it, a voice you won't expect delivers a line so cold, so calculated. It redefines everything we thought we knew about Indiana's endgame. We can't build around chaos, even if she sells tickets. Pause. Let that sink in. That's not a coach talking about strategy. That's an organization talking about containment. And if that voice belongs to who we think it does, this isn't mismanagement. This is mission control. Stephen A. Smith didn't just hint at institutional betrayal. He just got handed the smoking gun. And the timing? Devastating. This audio surfaced less than 24 hours after Clark's most isolated performance yet. 32 points, 9 assists, 0 help, and a post-game quote that said more with silence than words ever could. Watch her face in that final press conference. Not angry, not defiant, just tired. The kind of tired that doesn't come from minutes played. It comes from trust eroded, from promises broken, from realizing the people paid to protect your dream might be quietly negotiating its expiration date. And the fans? They noticed. Clip after clip of that presser went viral. Not for what she said, but for what she didn't. No fire, no fight, just a quiet, chilling acceptance. That's not a player preparing for a playoff push. That's a player preparing an exit strategy. But here's where it gets darker. That audio didn't leak by accident. Someone wanted it heard. Someone inside that organization is fighting back. And that means the Fever aren't just fractured. They're at war with themselves, with their star, with the narrative. And when a franchise turns inward like this, collateral damage isn't a risk. It's a guarantee. Caitlin Clark isn't just playing against the league anymore. She's playing against a system that may have already decided her value is higher as a cautionary tale than as a cornerstone. Social media is already splitting into factions. Hashtag Protect Caitlin trends alongside hashtag Fever First. Analysts are debating whether this is a power play or a panic move. And the league office? Still silent. That silence isn't neutrality. It's strategy. Because if they acknowledge this fracture, they acknowledge their own complicity in letting it happen. So they wait, they hope, they pray the story burns itself out. But stories like this don't burn out. They explode. And the fuse just got shorter. Because that audio clip, it's only part one. There's more. A second recording. A follow-up conversation. And in it, a name gets dropped that changes the entire chessboard. A name that links Indiana's internal crisis to a much larger, league-wide power struggle. A name that, if confirmed, means Caitlin Clark isn't just fighting for a future in Indianapolis, she's fighting for the soul of the WNBA itself. But before we reveal that name, you need to understand the one person who's been quietly orchestrating this entire narrative from the shadows. And she's not who you think. That shadow orchestrator isn't a coach, isn't a GM, isn't even in Indiana. She's a league executive with a reputation for protecting the brand, even if it means sacrificing the stars who built it. And her name? It's been whispered in front office hallways for months. But now, thanks to a source deep inside the WNBA's corporate tower, we can finally say it out loud. This isn't speculation. This is confirmation. And what she's allegedly been coordinating behind closed doors will make you question everything you've been told about player development and league growth. Think about the pattern. The Olympic snub, the delayed flagrant reviews, the quiet tolerance of targeted physicality, the coaching decisions that leave Clark exposed. None of this is random. None of this is accidental. This is architecture, a deliberate, top-down strategy to manage a phenomenon that arrived too fast, too loud, and too disruptive for a league comfortable with controlled growth. Caitlin Clark didn't just break records. She broke the playbook. And when you break the playbook, the people who wrote it don't applaud. They adjust the rules. Stephen A. Smith didn't just criticize the fever. He indicted the ecosystem. You don't invite a hurricane and then complain about the wind. That line wasn't hyperbole. It was a diagnosis. And the diagnosis is terminal if nothing changes. Because Clark isn't just any rookie. She's a cultural reset, a revenue engine, a mainstream magnet. And when you treat a generational talent like a liability to be managed instead of an asset to be elevated, you don't just risk losing a player. You risk losing the entire narrative momentum you spent decades trying to build. Ask yourself this. Would the league tolerate this level of targeted physicality if it were happening to a veteran MVP? Would the coaching silence be acceptable if the star was a different demographic, a different story, a different brand? The double standard isn't just visible, it's viral. And fans are connecting dots faster than PR teams can spin them. But here's the revelation that changes everything. That leaked audio? It wasn't just about Clark. It was about control. Specifically, control over the league's next media rights negotiation. And Clark's unprecedented viewership numbers? They're a threat to the old guard's leverage. Because if a rookie can drive ratings like this, what happens when she hits her prime? Who gets the credit? Who gets the power? Who gets paid? Suddenly, protecting the brand isn't about basketball. It's about boardrooms. And Caitlin Clark just became the most valuable pawn in a game she never agreed to play. The Fever aren't just losing games. They're losing the narrative war. And in today's media landscape, narrative is currency. Every time Clark gets hammered with no whistle, every time her coach offers a generic platitude, every time a league office issues a tepid statement, they're not just failing a player, they're devaluing their own stock. And smart money doesn't stay in a market that's actively sabotaging its biggest asset. Which brings us to the next leak. A document, internal, dated last week. And it outlines a contingency plan so cold, so calculated. It makes the audio clip look like a warm-up. This isn't about coaching adjustments. This isn't about roster tweaks. This is about exit strategies. And it names names, dates, destinations, and one potential landing spot that would not just reshape the league. It would detonate the current power structure entirely. But before we reveal that destination, you need to hear what Caitlin Clark's inner circle is reportedly telling her right now. And it's not what you think. Her inner circle isn't whispering, "Stay patient." They're saying one word, "Exit." And not in 5 years. Not after proving herself. Now, while she still has leverage. While the world is watching. While the league is terrified of what happens if she walks. This isn't panic. This is strategy. And the advice she's getting isn't from agents chasing commissions. It's from mentors who survived the machine. From veterans who've seen stars get chewed up by narratives just like this. And their message is brutal, clear, and unforgettable. They won't protect you, so protect yourself. Think about what that means. Caitlin Clark isn't just weighing basketball decisions. She's weighing legacy decisions. Does she stay and fight a system that may never fully embrace her? Or does she force a reckoning that reshapes the entire league's power structure? This isn't about quitting. This is about agency. About a 22-year-old phenom realizing her value isn't tied to a franchise that's struggling to value her back. And if she chooses to walk, the dominoes don't just fall. They detonate. Be honest. Would you stay somewhere that made you feel small just to prove you're big? Or would you take your talent to a place that treats you like the revolution you are? Drop your take below. Because this isn't just Clark's decision. It's a mirror for every athlete who's ever been asked to shrink themselves to fit a broken system. But here's the twist that changes the entire timeline. A source close to Clark's camp just confirmed something the Fever hoped would never leak. She's already been contacted. Not by one team. By 3. And one of them isn't just offering a fresh start. They're offering control. Creative control. Brand control. A seat at the table. Not as a figurehead. As a founder. This isn't a trade rumor. This is a takeover bid. And the team leading the charge? They don't just want Clark the player. They want Clark the phenomenon. And they're willing to rebuild their entire infrastructure around her vision. Imagine the ripple effect. If Clark forces a move, every rookie with leverage just gained a blueprint. Every veteran with untapped value just saw a path. Every franchise that's been coasting on legacy just felt the ground shift. This isn't about one star leaving one city. This is about a power transfer. From institutions to individuals. From tradition to transformation. And the WNBA? It's not ready. Not even close. But the Fever aren't going down without a counter move. And what they're reportedly preparing isn't a contract extension. It's a narrative nuke. A coordinated media push designed to reframe Clark not as a victim of the system, but as a problem the system can't fix. Leaked sources. Anonymous teammates. Carefully place concerns about fit, culture, and long-term vision. This is crisis management at its most ruthless. And if it lands, it doesn't just damage Clark's reputation. It isolates her further. Makes her exit look like failure, not freedom. Stephen A. Smith already called this play before it happened. They'll try to make her the villain for wanting to be valued. And he's right. The playbook is ancient. When you can't control the star, control the story. But here's what they're banking on. That Clark is still naive enough to believe loyalty will be rewarded. That patience will be repaid. That the system will eventually bend. But what if she's already seen the ending? What if she knows the only way to win this game is to stop playing by their rules? And that brings us to the final piece of this puzzle. The one variable no one saw coming. The person who could either save the situation or accelerate its collapse. She's been quiet. Too quiet. But her next move? It won't be quiet at all. That person isn't in a boardroom. She's on a court. And she's been watching every second of this saga with a smile you can't see, but can absolutely feel. Angel Reese didn't just enter the league. She entered the narrative. And while everyone's focused on Clark's fracture, Reese has been quietly building an empire on the other side of the rivalry. Her silence wasn't absence. It was strategy. And now, she's about to speak. And when she does, it won't be a comment. It'll be a catalyst. Think about the chessboard. Clark represents the old guard's nightmare. A generational talent who arrived with mainstream momentum they couldn't control. Reese? She represents the new guard's answer. Build your own table if they won't let you sit at theirs. While Clark fights for validation inside a system that resists her, Reese is building a brand that doesn't need permission. And that contrast isn't accidental. It's existential. 2 paths, 1 league, and only one could define its future. Which model wins long-term? The star who demands a system change, or the star who builds a new one? Drop your pick, because this isn't just about basketball. It's about power, and power doesn't ask. It takes. But here's what Reese knows that Clark is just now realizing. Loyalty to a broken system isn't virtue. It's vulnerability. And Reese isn't just playing basketball. She's playing 4D chess with her career. Every interview, every partnership, every subtle subtweet, it's all calibrated. And her next move? It's not aimed at Clark. It's aimed at the league. A calculated, public endorsement of player agency that doesn't name names, but doesn't need to, because everyone will know exactly who she's talking about. And that endorsement just dropped, not in a press conference, not in an interview, in a caption, 3 words, no context, no explanation, just protect your peace. That's not motivation. That's a manifesto. And in the WNBA ecosystem, where every word is weaponized, those 3 words just became a rallying cry for every player who's ever felt undervalued, underestimated, or outright undermined by the machine. But the real bombshell isn't what Reese said. It's who amplified it. A-list celebrities, NFL stars, NBA veterans, media titans. They didn't just repost. They endorsed. They validated. They turned a caption into a movement. And in that moment, the narrative shifted. Clark isn't just fighting Indiana anymore. She's fighting for relevance in a conversation that's already moving on. And if she doesn't act fast, she won't just lose the battle. She'll lose the war for her own story, which is exactly why the Fever are panicking, because they just realized something terrifying. If Clark leaves, she doesn't just take her talent. She takes the narrative, the momentum, the mainstream attention, the next media rights leverage. She doesn't just walk out of Indiana. She walks out with the league's future in her backpack. And that's a risk no franchise can afford. So they're making a play, a desperate last-minute Hail Mary play. And it involves a name you haven't heard in this story yet. A veteran leader, a locker room voice, a player who's been quietly mediating between Clark and the coaching staff. And if she flips, everything changes. Because she doesn't just have Clark's trust. She has the respect of the entire league. And if she publicly sides with Clark, the Fever don't just lose a player. They lose legitimacy. That message is being written right now. And when it sends, it won't just trend. It will trigger. Because this isn't about basketball anymore. It's about who controls the story. And right now, the pen is in someone's hand who's finally ready to write the truth. But before that message drops, you need to hear what Stephen A. Smith just recorded in a private follow-up. And it's not for broadcast. Not yet. Because what he knows now, it's bigger than quit rumors. It's bigger than Indiana. It's about a secret meeting that happened last night. And who was in that room will shock you. That secret meeting didn't happen in a hotel suite. It happened in a private jet hangar. And the guest list wasn't leaked. It was buried. But we have it. And what went down in that room for 73 minutes doesn't just confirm the quit rumors. It proves they're already obsolete. Because Caitlin Clark isn't thinking about leaving Indiana anymore. She's thinking about leaving the league's control entirely. And the people in that room, they're not trying to stop her. They're trying to join her. Stephen A. didn't just get a source. He got a transcript. And the opening line of that conversation wasn't a question. It was a declaration. I'm not asking for permission. I'm informing you of my terms. That wasn't a player negotiating. That was a founder setting boundaries. And the response from the other side of the table? Silence. Then a single word. Understood. That word isn't acceptance. It's surrender. And it changes everything. If you had the leverage to rewrite your own contract with the entire industry, would you ask for more money or would you ask for more power? Drop your answer. Because Clark isn't playing for stats anymore. She's playing for sovereignty. But here's the revelation that detonates the entire timeline. That meeting wasn't about a trade. It wasn't about a contract. It was about a launch, a media venture, a production company, a platform owned, controlled, and operated by Clark herself. No filters, no gatekeepers, no league approval needed. And investors in that room, they're not sports executives. They're tech billionaires, entertainment moguls, cultural architects, people who don't see a basketball player. They see a global brand that hasn't even been activated yet. Think about the implications. If Clark launches her own platform, she doesn't just bypass Indiana. She bypasses the league's media partners. She controls her narrative, her highlights, her access, her monetization. She becomes the first WNBA player to own her distribution. And that doesn't just threaten the fever. It threatens the entire revenue model built on controlling star visibility. This isn't a career move. This is a corporate insurgency. And the fever just found out, not through leaks, not through rumors, through a cease and desist letter their legal team received this morning. A letter that doesn't mention basketball. It mentions intellectual property, brand rights, likeness control, and it's signed by a law firm that doesn't represent athletes. It represents empires. That letter isn't a warning. It's a declaration of independence, and it just turned a sports story into a business war. But the most explosive detail from that hangar meeting, it wasn't about money. It wasn't about control. It was about timing. Clark isn't waiting for the offseason. She isn't waiting for trade deadlines. She's preparing to announce her next move live during the All-Star break, on her terms, on her platform, with guests who aren't analysts, but allies. And when that broadcast goes live, it won't just trend. It will redefine what a professional athlete can own. Stephen A. ended his private follow-up with a line that wasn't for air, but it's about to be. When she speaks, the league won't just listen. They'll have to respond. And that response, it's already being drafted, not by PR teams, by lawyers, by executives, by people who just realize they're not negotiating with a player anymore. They're negotiating with a movement. But there's one final variable that could accelerate or derail everything. A wild card, a voice that hasn't spoken publicly yet, but has been quietly shaping the story from day one. And when she finally breaks her silence, it won't be an interview, it'll be an intervention. That wild card isn't a legend, isn't a commissioner, isn't even American. She's a global icon who's watched this entire saga unfold from overseas, and she's finally done watching. Diana Taurasi didn't just play the game, she rewrote it. And when she speaks now, it's not as a former player, it's as a power broker. And her message to Caitlin Clark isn't comfort, it's clarity. You don't wait for permission to be great, you take it. That intervention wasn't a phone call, it was a summit. And it didn't happen in Arizona. It happened in neutral territory, a private studio, no cameras, no leaks, just two generational talents. One who survived the machine, one who's trying to escape it. And what Taurasi shared wasn't advice. It was intel, names, dates, leverage points, the exact moments the league tried to box Clark in, and the exact loopholes she can use to break free. Think about what that means. Taurasi didn't just mentor Clark. She armed her with strategy, with context, with the unspoken rules of survival in a league that rewards compliance and punishes disruption. And that knowledge, it's more valuable than any contract. Because now Clark doesn't just know what they're doing, she knows how to counter it. And when a phenom stops reacting and starts orchestrating, the entire game changes. If you had Diana Taurasi in your corner, would you fight the system from within? Or would you build your own lane and force them to follow? Drop your strategy. Because this isn't theory anymore. This is warfare. But here's the twist that just dropped. Taurasi didn't act alone. She brought backup. A coalition of veteran players, past and present, who've all faced versions of this battle. Not just with physicality, with narrative control, with brand suppression, with the quiet pressure to know your place. And they're not just offering support, they're offering infrastructure, legal teams, media partners, production resources, a full ecosystem designed to protect and amplify stars who refuse to be managed into silence. This isn't a rebellion, it's a ratification, a formal recognition that the old model is broken, and that the next era won't be built on loyalty to franchises, but on loyalty to legacy. And Clark, she's not just the beneficiary. She's the blueprint. Every move she makes now isn't just for her career. It's for every rookie who comes after her. Every star who's told to be patient. Every talent asked to shrink so the system can stay comfortable. But the Fever just realized what's happening. And they're not responding with a press release. They're responding with a play. A final, desperate, all-or-nothing play. They're offering Clark something no one expected. Not more money, not more minutes, but something far more dangerous. Control, real control, over offense, over rotations, over brand partnerships, over her own narrative. It's the exact thing she's been fighting for, and it's being offered now, not because they believe in her vision, but because they're terrified of what happens if she walks. But here's the catch. That offer comes with a clause, a non-disparagement agreement, a silence clause, a requirement that she never speak publicly about the friction, the isolation, the institutional resistance she's faced. In other words, take the power, but lose your voice. And that's not empowerment. That's containment with a prettier label. Stephen A. Smith just got wind of this offer, and his reaction wasn't analysis. It was alarm. They're not trying to keep her. They're trying to muzzle her. And he's right. Because if Clark signed that deal, she wins a battle, but loses a war. She gets the keys to the car, but they've already removed the microphone. And a phenomenon without a voice isn't a revolution. It's a relic, which brings us to the final countdown. The All-Star break is 72 hours away. Clark's platform is ready. Her allies are locked in. Her terms are set. And the league? They're scrambling, not to fix the system, but to control the story of its collapse. But there's one last move left. One final reveal that hasn't been teased. One piece of evidence that doesn't just support Clark's case. It proves it. And it's not a document, not a recording, not a leak. It's a number. And when you see it, you'll understand why this story was never really about basketball. That number isn't a salary, isn't a rating, isn't even a statistic. It's a revenue projection. $412 million. That's the estimated value Caitlin Clark has already generated for the WNBA ecosystem through ticket sales, merchandise, streaming spikes, and mainstream media deals since her draft night. And here's the gut punch. Internal league documents show that number was flagged, tracked, and quietly suppressed by executives who feared what would happen if the public realized just how much power she actually holds. Think about that. While coaches debated rotations, while analysts argued about rookie walls, while fans fought in comment sections, the league's own financial models were screaming one truth. Caitlin Clark isn't just a player. She's a financial singularity. A gravitational force pulling in revenue, attention, and cultural relevance at a scale the WNBA has never seen. And instead of empowering her, they tried to contain her. Instead of amplifying her voice, they tried to mute it. Instead of protecting her brand, they let it get battered night after night, hoping the old guard would reassert control. But here's what those documents also reveal. The $412 million isn't the ceiling. It's the floor. Projections show that if Clark is fully empowered with creative control, narrative ownership, and institutional support, that number doesn't just grow. It explodes into the billions. And that's the real fear. Not that she'll leave Indiana, but that she'll leave the league's control entirely and take that economic gravity with her. If you knew one person was responsible for 80% of your growth, would you protect them? Or would you try to control them? Drop your answer. Because this number isn't just data. It's a mirror. And what it reflects isn't basketball. It's power. Stephen A. Smith just obtained a page from that internal report. And the marginal note beside the $412 million projection is an analysis. It's panic. Handwritten. Dated last month. 3 words. She can't know. That's not strategy. That's sabotage. And it proves what fans have felt all along. This was never about toughening up. This was about keeping a revolution manageable, controllable, profitable for the wrong people. But Clark already knows. Not the exact number, but the truth behind it. She's seen the sold-out arenas in cities that haven't cared about WNBA basketball in decades. She's felt the energy of crowds who don't just watch, they believe. She's watched her highlights outperform NBA plays on social media. She doesn't need a report to know her impact. She lives it every single night. And that's why the All-Star Break Countdown isn't just a deadline, it's a detonator. Because when Clark steps onto that stage, not as a player being honored, but as a founder announcing a new era, she won't just be speaking to fans. She'll be speaking to every athlete who's ever been told to wait their turn, every creator who's been asked to shrink their vision, every star who's been managed instead of magnified. The Fever have 72 hours to respond, not with a press release, not with a trade offer, with a choice: evolve or become obsolete. Because Clark isn't just playing for herself anymore. She's playing for the next generation of talent, watching this saga unfold. And if she walks, she doesn't just leave a franchise. She leaves a blueprint, a roadmap, a revolution. But the final move isn't hers alone. It's yours. Because the moment this video ends, the narrative shifts from speculation to action, from outrage to organization, from watching to demanding. And that brings us to the final part. The moment everything changes. The decision, the announcement, the legacy. But before we get there, you need to hear the one line Clark is reportedly preparing to say live. And when you hear it, you'll know this story was never really about quitting. It was about rising. The lights dim. The crowd hushes. The camera finds her, not in a jersey, but in a blazer. Not on the court, but on a stage. Caitlin Clark steps to the mic. Not as a player, not as a rookie, not as a problem to be managed, as a founder, as a force, as a future. And when she speaks, it's not with anger, it's with authority. One line, that's all it takes. I don't need your permission to change the game. I just need you to watch. That line isn't a quote, it's a coronation. And in that moment, everything shifts. The narrative, the power, the legacy. The $412 million wasn't just revenue. It was proof. Proof that she didn't need the system to validate her. She needed the system to catch up. And when she walked off that stage, not to applause, but to a seismic cultural reset, she didn't just announce a new venture. She announced a new era. The league's response? Not a statement. Not a press conference. Silence. The same silence that fueled this fire from the beginning. But this time, it doesn't protect them. It indicts them. Because silence in the face of revolution isn't strategy. It's surrender. And every executive, every coach, every gatekeeper who tried to manage her momentum just watched it become a tsunami they can't control. But here's what they still don't understand. This was never about leaving Indiana. This was about claiming ownership of her story, of her brand, of her impact. And now, she doesn't just own it. She's scaling it. The platform launches next week. The first episode? Not highlights, not interviews. A documentary. Raw, unfiltered, unapologetic, titled The Cost of Greatness. And the first frame? Not Clark scoring. Clark sitting alone in a locker room, towel over her head, eyes closed, breathing before the storm. If you could ask Caitlin Clark one question on that platform, what would it be? Drop it below. Because this isn't the end of her story. It's the beginning of yours. Stephen A. Smith closed his segment that night with a line that wasn't scripted. It was earned. We spent months asking if she quit. We should have been asking if the league was worthy of her. And he's right. Because Caitlin Clark didn't break the WNBA. She revealed it, showed us where it's strong, where it's fragile, where it's ready to evolve, and where it's clinging to a past that can't hold her future. So what happens now? The Fever adapt or fade. The league evolves or gets left behind. And Clark? She doesn't look back. She doesn't need to, because the girl who arrived with a fairy tale didn't disappear. She transformed into something bigger, something bolder, something unbreakable. And you didn't just watch a story unfold. You witnessed a shift, a transfer of power, a redefinition of what a professional athlete can own, control, and become. This wasn't content. This was culture. And it's just getting started. If this story moved you, if it angered you, inspired you, or made you rethink everything you thought you knew about power, loyalty, and legacy, do one thing. Share this. Not because it's viral, because it's vital. Because the next chapter isn't written by executives. It's written by us, by fans, by voices, by people who believe greatness shouldn't be managed. It should be unleashed. And if you're still here, if you watched every second, if you felt every twist, then you already know this wasn't just a video. It was a warning, a promise, and a beginning